And with pleasure.
Yes.
So,
hello and welcome to another episode of Magicians Only. Are you a magician? Great. You're not? Great, because everyone's welcome. It doesn't matter. I love having you here. Today's episode is centered around the magic of Jeff Hobson, one of my favorite magicians, so funny, and Marvin Roy. Now, I recorded this earlier this year when I was appearing at Jeff's theater. I was doing my full 90-minute show. It was a lot of fun, and we were performing in Palm Springs in California, which was just, lovely. Jeff has a wonderful history, and he has his own theater. And we've been talking a lot about this idea of having your own venue. So I thought it'd be good while I was there to interview Jeff and figure out kind of how he did it, how he pulled it off, and how he runs it, and what his thoughts are. And also, I should tell you that this episode is, even though it's a video episode as well, it is in two parts, part on video and part just audio, because the first part of this episode is going to be a video tour of Jeff's facility. You can see it from the outside, the inside. He even makes me disappear at one point without camera tricks, so check that out. And then you're going to hear some stories about Marvin. It's good. It's great. Marvin Roy was one of the great classic acts of the past, and lived into his 90s. We all loved Marvin, and so the theater, Jeff's Theater, is named after Marvin Roy, and you can check him out on YouTube. But before you do, you should check out this episode. The second part of the episode, or at least the second half, shall we say, of this episode is audio only, because I want you to listen to what Jeff's saying, and because I just felt like putting the camera down and just having a conversation, and it kind of works. Okay, here we are. We're at Marvin's Magic Theater in La Quinta, in California, right near Palm Springs. This is the giant theater named after Marvin Roy, and we're here to see Jeff Hobson, if he's in. Hopefully he is. And he's going to show us around. And hello, Jeff.
Well,
surprise.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you here. Come on in.
It's a pleasure to be had. Thank you.
Come on in. I didn't know you had a documentary crew either.
Yeah, we got a whole documentary crew.
It's wonderful.
Craft service and the whole lot. So. Yeah. It's good to see you, my friend.
This is the place. Welcome. This is fantastic. Everyone's been waiting in anticipation for your show. So
Anticipating. So Marvin's has been here how long?
6 years minus about a year and a half for COVID.
Yeah.
But we've been doing well. This is our fourth season, and this is my dream team season because I got everybody who I ever wanted in one season this year. It's amazing.
And me.
And you.
And then me. Because you always got to have one.
It's a joke.
You've got to.
Very little humor.
Very humble. Fake humble. So,
okay.
Show us around.
This was in a show way back in Las Vegas. This is an original Renee made, Renee made wonderful, marionette that comes apart. I don't know if you've ever seen these where the head flies up, the arms fly out, the torso. It's really cool, very rare, really neat. So we have a few interesting things, regular magic shoppy stuff. However, we do have this, which was this whole thing was donated by the Mystics out of Los Angeles.
And that's Marvin performing.
And this is Marvin 1956 Barcelona, Spain television program where he's doing the lights out of the mouth right there. And we people that don't know Marvin, they don't know him. We say, well, this was Marvin because they don't know it. And I'm like, he was really famous. And we actually have his light bulb, the 1,000-watt light bulb that he actually lit up in his bare hand, as some of you may know. And
he burned himself many times trying.
He burned himself a lot, especially on this chandelier he actually produced magically in the beginning of his act. If you know his act, he also, I don't have it on.
You can look him up online if you look up Mr. Electric. You can find him on YouTube.
YouTube. There's a lot of ones. Ed Sullivan Show. That's sort of like the Jimmy Fallon Show for you youngrins. And Tonight Show. And what else was he on? Gosh, 7 years touring with Liberace. Liberace.
That was when he did the Magic Jeweler.
That's right.
Yes.
And the Magic Jeweler, you happen to mention that is the crown.
That's the zombie crown. That's the one he flows in.
I think that was one of his in the beginning of the act, way back when, because the Jeweler Act actually was invented before the Liberace days, but he had it in the books. And so he actually performed a little bit of it at one time, and that's one of the crowns he produced at the lab.
That's great.
Yeah, cool stuff.
You got a lot of great stuff up
here. Yeah. We got lots of rare little things.
Classic magic props.
Look at all this stuff.
See, cups and bowls, and that's called a bill tube, and then you've got a finger guillotine for those who don't know.
Yes.
My regular Muggle
memorabilia.
Yeah, that's Marvin again. Marvin was lovely, and he was. I I met him in the early '90s at the castle. He'd always give me a kiss. He'd always come up, give me a hug and a big wet kiss on the side of your cheek.
He was one of the most generous magicians, and even David Copper guy would say, you know, he got many of his inspirations from Marvin.
From Marvin,
so
yeah.
Yeah, he had like 20 sons around the world. I was very proud to be called one of them, and so he would always come here, and he loved it. So he was 92 when he first came in these doors, and we welcomed him.
He was here for the opening night.
He was here for the, well, here's the thing. You know, he was in 1950s, right? He was the thing, and he performed at all these European cabarets, right?
Yeah.
Where, you know, it was like plush velvet, and, you know, bands started at 10 at night, and the acts went until 2 in the morning, and you had steak dinners at midnight. And every time I said, well, we're going to open a place in your, in your name, he said, oh, can't wait to have those steak dinners at midnight in New York, or sort of that. Like, oh, well. And so when he came in, he was, yeah, we'll be back. So when he came in and we said, oh, here, say the magic words, and whatever magic words there was, oh, let's come in. So he saw this.
Wow.
And he came, and he didn't say anything about this place. He just sort of shuffled over to this little picture, and he just said, 1976 Chicago, we took that one, and blah, blah, blah. And of course, this is like his all-time famous shot that he used for the past 40 years of his career. And then he didn't say anything about this place at all.
He was just blown away by the giant poster.
And then I said, oh, Marvin, I said, look. And he comes over to the, remember now, he's 92, right? And he comes over and he goes, who's that? And I said, this is Carol, your wife, right? And he goes, no, it's not. And I said, well, I took the liberty of photoshopping out everything around, which had ice skates and a rope, because she was an acrobat and in the circus and stuff. Yeah. And so all this I put in. And he, for some reason, that really threw him off. And after a while, he recognized her, but at that time, he goes, no, that's not her. Which was great. And then after this first show, he was, because this is much different than what he thought it was going to be. And he said, finally, after the show, I said, how'd you like it? And he says, Jeffrey, he said, needs a little sizzle. And I said, Marvin, I don't know what that is. And so it took him about 3 or 4 days of coming in, and finally he relaxed, and everybody was
in his mind, he's got like Coconut Grove or something, right? He's got like the old classic with the big band
Empire
and the
Room, and from way back when. And so once he got, and then of course he's getting a standing ovation every night when I introduce him. He's got his seat. We got a little plaque on the back of one of his seats that he loves sitting in. And then he finally, after a while, he said, Jeffrey, you made an old man very happy. So I'm like, thank goodness that he finally accepted it.
Yeah.
And it was, it was just in his name. We didn't know what to call this place.
That's great.
And actually, Gary Butler, the founder, said, "Hey, we're going to call it Marvin's." I said, "Perfect."
And you've got what's the John and Marcia on the toilets here? Well,
John and Marcia is the founder. Gary decided that there's a Stan Freberg song called John and Marcia.
Right.
And that plays in here occasionally. It's from the 1950s, and it's a parody song where the only words are John and Marcia. And it's like a soap opera, organ, John, Marcia, John, Marcia. And a whole relationship of even going through, intimate times and everything else, and all they say is John and Marcia, and so he loved it, and so that's why that's on the door.
Listen, we got the classic zigzag. No theater is complete without a zigzag. Did you ever do that one? Did you ever perform that?
I only did this once when Jessica Jane Peterson came in once.
Right.
And she says, can I do that? And first of all, she cried when she first saw it. She goes, where'd you get this? And I said, John Bundy. She goes, oh my, and she started crying. I'm like, what did I do wrong? And she said, well, when she was a little girl, she played in the bottom, because her mother assisted John Bundy in thousands of shows, and this was backstage, and when she was a little girl, she played in the bottom of that with her dolls.
Oh my God.
And so she saw this, and she just knew it was the same one.
Wow. Oh, that must have had an impact.
And right here, we did the zigzag. She goes, have you ever done it? She goes, I wanted it. She goes, of course I've done it. I go, I haven't. You have to coach me along. And she did it perfectly. And there was some laymen in here with cameras going all around the thing, couldn't figure the dang thing out.
It's still the greatest illusion.
It is. It's a wonderful illusion. It's cutting a woman in thirds. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Amazing.
Hats off to Robert Harvin. This is the entrance. This is the lounge before.
This is gorgeous. I mean, this is every magician wants to have their own venue.
Yeah.
And where they can perform on a regular basis. And this is so classy and sophisticated. And did you design it all yourself?
I didn't design out here. There was a firm out of Sacramento that designed this. I designed the theater. They designed out here. Over here, I always wanted a piano that people could sit at, and then still the close-up and
Which is I
it's
love that. It's so
it's a two-in-one.
it's gorgeous. Yeah,
Yeah,
I love that.
thanks.
It's like the lounge singer and the lounge magician, and it's this vibe. Well, hopefully we'll get a little bit of it later.
There's no piano bars really. There's only one in town, and that's nobody can find it. And
Right,
so
right.
this is the only other one really.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So anyways, then people go into the
And
theater.
the sound baffling is really clever up here. which
Yeah,
is
yeah, this was very cool. This was very cool. I liked it a lot. And then, they did this, they decided that these walls, these are just cement, these are not meant to be exposed, but when they put them up, the designer went, I like the look of it. And I went, and they had these little like buttons, like these little aluminum buttons. I said, if you take the buttons off, I said, I'll agree with you. And
Yeah.
so that's what that is.
It looks like a design feature as opposed to just kind of
Yeah, it does look on purpose. That is Marvin's favorite quote right there.
magic is a love affair.
Magic is a love affair. And he even told his wife, Carol, he goes, I love magic. He goes, you're first, but magic's really close.
We are about to go into the theatre. I'm actually doing a show here this week, so you're going to see a bunch of props all over the place. Pay no attention to the mess. That's just me. Everything nice is Jeff's.
Correct.
Okay. Let's go.
So this is 124 seats here, and there's 6 extra on the
Oh, you got like the lounge up there.
banquet couch, the private, that we never sell those tickets. Those are always reserved for Gary, his wife, his family, and friends.
124. So is there a reason why you went with 124? Just what you could fit?
My
or?
sweet spot, I've done, plenty of comedy clubs, and
Yeah.
all I knew was I wanted 150, because that's like a safe. It's not too little, it's not too big, 150. Well, by the time they designed everything and made that lounge really huge, it started crunching in, and they said, oh, we got 98 seats for it. I said, no,
Right.
I want 150. So we had negotiated and came out right at
124.
Yeah, 124.
Yeah.
And so that's all we can get in here.
And we're going to be sold out tonight, which I'm excited
Yes, we are.
about.
Yes, we are. I think that's going to be really nice. And we don't have much side or backstage space, but but we had height, and so it looks pretty majestic.
It does.
From the stage, from the audience rather. And, we got full lighting. Anything you want. There you go. He's getting ready. That's
Where
his
there's a
spot,
light,
baby.
I'll be there.
Yep.
So, I mean, look at this. This is full on. This is fantastic. I can imagine having a place like this of my own. It would be amazing. You can get me off stage.
Yeah.
I love it.
And of course, since we have an elderly sort of clientele here
Yep.
in the desert, I insisted on the first row being level so that people can roll in and roll
out.
Then, of course, we got, if you look at the back there, let me see if I can put the lights on. You can see Marvin and Carol in a silhouette doing their famous light bulbs out of the mouth, which I think is this it? Maybe not. Is this it? There it is.
There it is.
There it is. And so that's their famous little silhouette.
Maybe I'll find a little bit of footage and cut it into this of them doing.
Oh, I got be great anticipation for tonight, and it's going to be a wonderful show. This man, first time I actually saw him live was just some months ago, actually, during this
Yeah,
summer.
I've known Jeff since I'd say mid-90s. When
Probably
you
about that,
kind of in passing, because it's such a professional. He's always off working.
We're always up.
And then it was just at Keith's. It was at the soiree, right?
Yeah, and
It
that's
was
the
at
first time.
soiree.
Well, and I was in town. I said, God, I want him at the theater, but I insist that everybody give me like an hour video or see them live. And so I went down to see him live, and I went, damn, he's good.
I didn't suck.
He did not.
So as long as
was
I didn't
great.
suck, it was fine.
No, you were wonderful.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm excited to be here. So this is gorgeous.
Yeah. So you want to go out? Let's
Yeah.
go out because you're
this
not
way.
unless you bought a ticket, you're not staying. Just talking to the documentary.
If you are in La Quinta, which is near Palm Springs, California, then this is definitely the place you've got to come check out. Okay.
we did. This is an actual prop that I designed. It's a Lester Lake guillotine, but on this so that the person can sit down and still put their head inside rather than kneeling down and you don't see the top of their head.
Yeah.
so it's a little-
I see. So you get the reactions out of that. It's fantastic.
Exactly.
Sometimes these things don't go well, and so you can go through a few people in a week, right? But this is it's a sharp scimitar blade. That's
No, and that's why we use magicians at first, because if one goes,
yeah, we just use
others.
someone who's not that good.
Yeah.
But here's the interesting thing is that you might not know this, but magicians, sometimes we design our own tricks based on other tricks, and we have them specially built. Who built this for you?
well, this was Bill Smith.
Bill Smith. Okay, yeah. So, and sometimes we'll have like unique pieces that we are the only people who own them. So this is a great design.
Yeah.
All right.
And of course, a present from David Copperfield, and it's David Copperfield.
There you go.
And Gary and Marcia, the founders, got a special fellowship award from the Magic Castle Academy of Magical Arts for actually opening this place. East Indian Basket Illusion, Houdini's Metamorphoses, or we also hypnotize them with this wonderful board so that they spend more money at the bar, apparently. I don't know, I don't think it works, but we try. We try.
This is great.
Yeah.
And did you ever do this? Did you ever do the...
No, I bought it to actually, I did do it in a show called the Illusionarium on board a ship, but I didn't use that basket. We had a special one built.
Yeah.
But I've never, this is a brand new one from Owen's Magic.
So what happens here is a lady or gentleman, it's not gender specific,
No, it's not.
will get into the basket and we'll just 1 minute be standing in the basket and the next minute we'll be gone. And to prove they're not in the basket, you just stick swords all the way through it. Sometimes flaming. I've seen Jonathan does it with flaming swords, and then you stand in it and you do the knee
That's
thing.
right, the kneel down.
The kneel down to prove there's nothing in there.
Right.
And then she reappears inside the basket.
Now, in the Illusionarium that I designed, she went in. After she came out, we put the cloth over again, whipped off, and another girl came out that nobody knew was there in the first place. Oof, yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool.
I don't know how that one works.
I know.
We're going to talk.
I know. And I have an illusion that I want you to participate in, so come on this way.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yep.
this is exciting.
A dematerialization
I have
chamber,
not. No,
Steve.
I haven't.
This is a device that breaks down your cellular structure at the molecular level, shoots it up into cyberland, whips it around anywhere you want to in the world. You're there within a minute.
Okay.
And then you come on back, hopefully in one piece, and maybe the rearranged pieces. But I'm sure.
Bit like the fly. So
Sort of. 50,000 volts run through this. So if you could just do one thing for me there, come on in.
Okay.
You've never done this.
No, I actually never. I don't know what I'm doing.
Okay,
here.
go up, careful, go across to the back. All right, right over there, right
Here?
there. Yep, behind. There you go. And now what you can do is just wave at us, and don't really say much because it hurts when the vocal cords do their thing. And as you can see, he's there. He's wonderful. But now the electricity and the nuclear fusion happens, where now his body is taking up. And
that feels weird.
There you go. Thank God he's back in the UK. Oh, and look, he's on the phone.
Right, so I'm here at Marvin's Magic Theatre. I'm here with Jeff Hobson, and we're going to talk some magic. So we're going off camera and into the audio, because when you listen, you can pick stuff up. All right, Jeff.
Hello, darling.
So this is great. So what made you want to, because you've been touring for years, and I've followed your career for years. You spent a lot of time in England, right?
Yeah, did spend some time doing either some TV or also a lot with the Illusionists. We did a number of spots in a television special on ITV and a few other things.
And so what was it that made you want to settle down? Was it just time?
No, nothing. This was a dare. This is actually, honest to gosh, this is a weird thing, because Gary Butler, a good friend of mine, always wanted to have some entertainment. And he's a big magic fan, knew a lot of the magicians, knew Larry Jennings from way back, a good amateur magician, but owned the largest heating and cooling manufacturing company in the world. Okay. And so obviously he took that venue over magic, because he could have he actually had an offer for Lake Tahoe way back when, and he said, nope, I got this company, I got my wife, I got kids, no, so he just turned it down. But big fan, big supporter of magic, and through Tom Mullica, I met him. Yeah. And he wanted to have a show for his employees. And so over these years, I did a show, emceed, booked all these acts, and finally he would tell me for the past decade and a half, he said, Jeff, if you ever want to settle down and open a place, let me know. And I'm either, I don't know, I'm in Vegas, I'm here, I'm going, no, I don't have the time. I just don't have, So finally, I think I just placated him once when we were having sushi. I said, yeah, you go find a place.
Okay.
Well, I didn't know what I was saying, actually, and so now I'm touring with the Illusionists for another year and a half, and all of a sudden he calls me, and I am now in the Sydney Opera House, just about to do a show. Happens to be 7 years almost to the day that I started the Illusionists.
Right.
at the Sydney Opera House.
Yes.
So I'm booked.
Because you were the original cast.
Yes.
You're part of the original cast.
Yes,
of it.
yes. And so it was 7 years went, and now it's 7 years later, and I'm like, and he says, hey, I just opened a place. Let's go. And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? I just took a place. I didn't.
Yeah.
What? And he says, no, I opened. Remember you said? Oh, I go, yeah, but I what? And I'm like trying to, I'm about to go on stage. I'm like, I don't understand what's going on here. He goes, no, I found a place. You got to come out and look. And I said, well, yeah, let me do this show though. And then I got to if this is true, I got to let everybody know that this is my last run, this last week,
Yeah.
And so finally, sure enough, as soon as that show was over, he said, no, I signed a lease. And I said,
wow, that's committed. That's committing
I said,
you.
Well, that was.
Yes.
And he knew.
Very smart.
Yes,
very smart businessman.
It was. And so finally, sure enough, I said to everybody, that's like, hey, 7 years, started at the Sydney Opera House. And I go, that's a good run, 7 years. And so, came here, opened a place, and thought it was only going to be like a year or something. I always thought, okay, well, I'm going to manage it for you, blah, blah, blah. And that ended up being no, because for a number of reasons, after 6 months of opening, all of a sudden, the COVID pandemic hits.
Yes.
We were doing really well. And now everything, of course, as we know, is in limbo. What do you do? What do you do? A year later, he says, look, I don't want you to leave. I think this place is still going to open, blah, blah, blah. He goes, how about I sell it to you? And I said, what? He goes, yeah. He goes, you just have the theater, everything.
Okay.
And so I bought it from him. And now today, I still have row G, which just happens to coincide for Gary.
Yes.
And that is his row to have. And I said, I will never sell it. It's always yours. Anyone, this is your row. You can come in all the time, anytime, and so that was part of the agreement.
So you own the theater now. This is totally
me and my
yours.
wife, we own a theater. Yeah,
that's
full on. Yeah,
amazing. Now, is that like kind of a daunting responsibility too? I imagine.
Well, it is, especially when your wife thinks that it's only going to be a year, and she wants to go back to Michigan.
Okay.
To her home state. So now we're here for not only 26 years. In the desert, where she's not too much of a fan of.
Yes.
And now we're saying, okay, now we have a theater in the desert.
Yes.
For now going on 6 years. So, and be honest, there's a few personal issues that we need to get back to Michigan for.
Yeah.
So we're going to go back. But this was a, a detour that is now not so much of a detour.
It's a lovely detour.
It's a lovely detour. And we love it.
Yeah.
And we've got it down to where it's a turnkey thing. It's easy, and we know how to do it. And
you know how to book it. And that's one of the great things is you don't have to book anyone you don't want to book. So you're not going to book an act that's a pain in the butt. You're not going to book an act that you're not sure about. You're not being forced to book someone.
No.
You can do it yourself if you need to.
That's right. And if somebody cancels, I fill in. It's great.
That's a beautiful thing. Would you consider expanding the brand?
I've been
into Michigan. Maybe?
I've been offered possibly. So everything's still sort of up in the air yet. I'm still, looking at other places and whatnot. But
but possibly opening a place in Michigan.
You
don't want to say. Okay.
I really don't. To be honest, this is a tourist destination.
Yeah.
And a retirement destination.
Sure.
This is like my wheelhouse. I know these people. I know what they like, what they don't like.
Yes.
Michigan's a whole nother animal.
Sure.
So is Canada's more hip than Michigan is. But anyways, you got to be careful where you open a place that you think is going to do well.
Well, I did Illusionist too.
Yes, you did.
We did the Fox Theatre in Detroit.
Yes.
I mean, that was one of my first big theaters.
That's a huge one.
I loved it.
5,000
and the audiences it was packed every night.
Yes.
So there's definitely a taste of magic in Michigan, and in the right place.
Well,
and
again, you were in Detroit,
too, right?
and that's that's a city. But if you go sort of outside of that, it's a toss-up, of how it's accepted.
Right.
So, but no, Fox Theater's wonderful.
If it's looked down upon as a children's park.
And I heard you did very well. Yes.
I did all right. Yeah, it was fun. You know what was amazing for me was this idea, because Simon Painter, who as you know is the creator of it, he says to me, I want you to do your wallet routine, Carter wallet routine. And I was like, but it's going to be on a stage in front of thousands of people. It's like, we'll have a guy with a camera, don't worry about it. So I'd never done magic to a camera on stage in front of a lot of people before. And so we got two people to sit at the table, and I did my Carter wallet routine. And I was blown away by how well it played. Like, I did not expect that kind of a reaction. And I think maybe I'm just old school, where if I go to the theater, I expect to see everything live. But it's the culture now where we're okay.
People don't mind it.
No.
Now, between you and me and whoever's listening, I mean, I think they overuse the camera because they keep it up all the time.
Yeah.
Which I think
can be distracting.
I think you need to, if there's something happening on stage, it gets focused on stage. When you need to have magnification, then you put it up. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
But it was never that way, and no one seemed to actually care.
Yeah. But
it was there the whole time.
It was there the whole time. So part of what I'm doing with the podcast, which is really fun, is really kind of having like honest chats about the things that we experience when we're working. And because it's also for people who think that magic is all glamour and glitz, or show business is all glamour and glitz. But anyone who's in any service industry knows that when you deal with the public, you can't predict the shit that's going to come your way. There's great things, there's wonderful people, but there's also
an equal amount, if not more so, of the stuff that you're like, God, I don't want to do that again.
Yeah. And right, you were telling me about a taxi driver,
Oh
ride that you had.
Oh my God, yeah. Well, that's a whole nother one. Yeah, he said, oh, I said, what do you do? What do you do without doing your Lyft or your Uber? He said, oh, I kill people. I'm like, and then he went on. He was from the Capone family, and I believed him because it was too damn true. You can't make up stuff like this. So yeah, I got scared. I pooped my pants that day.
He didn't want to take you to the airport, right?
No. Didn't. Well, no, he didn't. He almost missed the exit. I had to actually, really almost bump him and get him out of his cloudy haze of killing people.
Oh my God.
It was weird.
Yeah.
But no, things happen all the. I tell you what, the funnest thing though, there are, ad libs are marvelous. And sometimes there's things that happen. And I'm sort of known for the egg bag as well. You've done your training, your magic on the go.
Yes, on the egg bag, well. Yes.
So, and I've done that trick more than...
I think you're synonymous with that trick. I think so. I think back in the 1920s, it was Arnold de Beer and it was Golden and Albini who kind of came up with the challenge thing. All right, and then so certain people, magicians, if you don't know, over the years have been kind of famous for this particular trick called the egg bag, and they have their own ways of doing it. And it's a trick that looks simple, but it's actually very hard to present.
Yeah, and also these, like many tricks, they're almost stupidly simple to figure out. As far as the premise, you take an egg, you put it in the bag, the egg disappears, and you make it reappear. It's sort of stupid in a way. It's like you tell it, oh, what do you do? What exactly do you close? What is your closing? Oh, I do this egg in a bag and it disappears, and I make it reappear, and they think you're mad. You're like, what? And so, but then, as we all know, it's 99%, the presentation.
Yes, and so your presentation, which I remember seeing you do it, I would say mid-90s at Magic Island.
Oh my word!
In Los Angeles, in Newport Beach.
Yeah, Newport Beach.
Newport Beach. I think that was the first time I saw you do it. It was a revelation, and you just killed with it, and then you've become known to the point where I have an egg bag routine, and I've been threatening to do it here at your theater, but part of me is like, I don't know.
Well, let's put it this way. I do it so much that if anyone sees you do it here, my regulars will go, hey, that's Jeff's trick.
Jeff's trick.
That's the problem.
I know.
Whoever they see first.
Yeah.
Now, I tell you, one of the most amazing things that happen, whenever I perform in foreign countries or for, different cultures, if somebody speaks another language, I always say, even if I know it, I tell the person, I go, how do you say egg in your language? And then I sort of act like I don't know, and then I say it. And I say, how do you say bag? And so whatever it is, the huevo and de bolsa, y bolsa, if it's from, Mexico or something, or Latin speaking. So I'll do that, and I act like I've never said it before, and I make fun of the term, and it actually takes it to another level. So I go and I'm doing Finland, a television show.
Famous for their sense of humor in Finland.
Well, that is the problem.
Or lack of. No offense to our Finnish
No, they're fine people. They're fine people. But so I get there. And I do that same thing to this fine lady on stage, and we're filming it. It's one time only, and I said, "How do you say egg?" And of course they're not laughing a lot. They're not boisterous people. And I said, "How do you say egg?" And so she starts to giggle, and then a few other people giggled, and she pointed. She says, and I don't know if this is the correct, Mona, and I said, okay, and then everyone starts laughing more, and I'm like I'm out of the loop. I have no idea what you're talking about. And I said, Mona, and then more people laughed. I go, what's so funny? And she goes, Mona is also, and then she points toward my crotch.
Yes.
And I said, what? I said, you mean my thing is the same as, so Mona, and everyone's laughing, right? I go, okay. So I go, wow, that's weird, right? Then here's the topper. So I say in the bag, I said, how do you say bag? Now people are going crazy because she goes, pussy. And I go, no way. I go, no, you have to be kidding. You know, and so everyone's cracking up. I go, okay, fine. Now I put the Mona in the pussy.
Oh my God.
And blah, blah. And so now it's always the Mona in the pussy because that's the trick. And so I have to say that now.
Mona pussy, Mona. Okay.
Yeah.
No
Exactly.
pussy, no Mona.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Oh,
so it was a hilarious thing, and that's why I got the offer to do my one and only offer to do my a television show around me. So they did an hour. They brought me back for an hour special, and then promptly the station was sold and everything closed up.
Did you film the special?
I did.
You did. You film, and so the feature of it being the Mona pussy.
Well, no, they didn't even have that again because that went. So I had to make up a bunch of stuff for television that I've never done before. So.
Okay. You have that somewhere?
Yeah, I have that somewhere.
You have a copy of that somewhere?
Yeah, I have that somewhere. And all these people that I'm supposed to interview that I don't know who the hell they are. So it was weird.
Finnish celebrities.
Finnish celebrities.
Yes.
Yeah, and so that was weird. But yeah, so that was probably the most fun I've ever had with the egg bag trick.
But you've toured everywhere. You've done show and you've dealt with all kinds of audiences, right? You know, and biker bar. And you started in biker bars.
Oh my gosh, yeah, bars. I mean, drinking halls, you know, it's stuff around, you know, the VFW or whatever you call them, Knights of Columbus. You know.
Did you start with because I often think now it's a bit of magic's got a bit of a golden age going on right now, where people, especially when people come to see a magic show, you don't have to be so aggressive when you come out to grab an audience because they're there for you.
Right, and magic's more popular, so they'll actually give you an extra 5 seconds.
Right, before they decide whether they hate you or not.
That's right.
Whereas I think both you and I started I started on the working men's clubs in England, so where you have to grab attention as soon as you get out and you can't let go. If they sense weakness, they will destroy you.
That's right.
And you're the same way, right?
Well, so I forget what year this was. This is probably about 15 years ago, maybe. I think I performed at the Grosvenor House. Do you know the Grosvenor House?
I have heard. Was it Tommy Cooper talk about the famous?
Yes, that's the one place he'll never perform.
Work. Yeah.
Okay, well, I worked there, but I didn't know that Tommy.
But wait, here's the thing about the Grosvenor House. It's this lovely place in London, for those who don't know, and it's considered to be a good gig. Like if you work the Grosvenor House, you're going to work the Grosvenor House, you're doing really well. However,
it's set up totally wrong for entertainment.
Yeah.
It's like 750 people to your left, 700 people to your right, about 100-foot diameter dance floor in front of you, and then like a string of maybe 12 people sitting at a table way in the hell on the other side of the dance floor. So it's like there's nobody there, and people.
It's like a bad wedding.
It's a horrible wedding, but only 10 times that because 1,500 people in this place.
Jeez. And
then to top it off, it was during the Bush administration, and I guess the UK didn't care for Bush, too much, and so like a lot of people from Palm Springs here don't care for Bush, never have, never will. But so what they did was, as soon as I was introduced, you heard the whole audience boo. And they were also drunk. They started at 5 in the afternoon. Show's now going at 11:30 at night. They've been drinking this whole time.
Wow.
So as soon as
and they pipe them in too. They bus them in from other places.
This is called a National Safety Council, which is all the blue collar sort of places from all around the UK.
Yeah.
And their special awards, they pay for all these people that don't get out much.
Right. So they're really happy to have the
They
booze.
are drunk as shit.
Yeah.
And
they don't really
eating,
care about
drinking.
you.
Now 11:30. Then they hear, from America. Right off the bat, Jeff. So I got and then I went down to the audience because no one was paying attention at all, and they were louder than I could actually hear myself over the microphone. So they didn't quiet up at all. They didn't even look at me. They were all backs to me. I go down in the audience and I'm doing this, the desperation thing. Hi, what's your name? Where you're from? Thing, just to get
crowd work,
just get something. Crowd work. And so I go to this first guy. I said, and I tap him on the shoulder because he's back to me, and he turns around. I said, "Sir, what's your name?" And he's in the middle of drinking, and he turns around and he takes his whole mouthful of whiskey and goes and spits it from my head down like this purposely. So I am now drenched in whiskey. And I sort of wiped it off and I went, "Oh, thank you." And I said something I said that I would never say as a host or as an MC. Is the first act ready? Backstage, and thank God they were. And
Jesus. This is what always amazes me about hecklers in general, or people who want to destroy a show. It's like, this is that you would never go to their workplace and spit beer in their face. So this is our workplace, and so essentially I always look at it nowadays as harassment in the workplace. This is kind of like
I never thought of it that way. Actually, I have a case now too.
But I mean, you could, and actually, in some way, certainly in America, where everybody sues for everything, that's assault. When you spit something on someone, that's assault. So, and then we've been brought up with, we have to handle these things, and we have to have heckle lines, and we have to, But there's really nothing in a contract that says you have to be verbally and physically abused on stage as part of your gig. As I've never understood the personality of a person in an audience who would do something like that to try and humiliate someone.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, again, these people were 6 hours straight into drinking however much they wanted to.
Yeah.
And, if there's one country, England, it doesn't matter. You don't say have as much as you want to drink. You just don't do that. And they did.
You'd be like, okay, hold my drink. I'm going to get another one. Holy shit. So there really is no way out. At that point, you're just getting through the gig at that point, right?
Well, funny enough, the show was like 2.5 hours long, and by the time they went through some acts, people eventually, when they got to the egg bag,
yes,
they were paying attention.
Okay.
And I had a Scotsman up with a kilt, which was fun in and of itself, of course.
Yeah, of course, yeah, especially with your on-stage persona.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fantastic.
Exactly. So I don't do much of that persona anymore, really.
Yeah.
I call it gay light.
Right.
Because you can't really be harsh on anything anymore. In fact, I don't say any of the lines. Actually, there's no lines that I say. People just figure, that's. This is who he is. I don't even have to say any lines anymore. I don't.
Yeah.
But people still figure it. So,
it's
ingrained.
It's hilarious. So what would be that was pretty nuts. What would be the craziest situation you found yourself in? I mean, I've done some things where I've been in the desert with royalty in the middle of a coup when I'm supposed to do magic, which is a story I'll eventually tell once I figure out the NDA.
I think all the wildest stuff ever happened in Vegas, late night shows, because you get people that shouldn't, like I say, almost the same thing as that, the Grosvenor House, of people that generally don't get out. They spend their 1 week, they've saved it up their whole life, and then they go crazy. And so, I've pretty much seen and heard it, but a couple of the memorable ones, I think one was, I had a lady up, and I could tell she had a few drinks. And I always say, when I put the egg in the bag, I say, here, make sure the egg's there, hoping for a joke having to do with a scrotum, et cetera, and testicles and whatnot.
Squeezing the bag, yes.
But without a hitch, she bypasses the bag, goes right to my crotch, and then goes and grabs a hold of everything that I have and doesn't let go. Holds on to everything. Not just a little. We're talking
the whole package.
Yeah, the whole package, and she wouldn't let go. Now, of course, everyone, and she's smiling at the audience and just grinning. And I didn't know what to do. Yeah. Other than, okay, this is getting a laugh, let's keep going, baby. And she was there for a while.
Sexual harassment can be quite funny.
It was.
I guess. I don't know.
I don't know. But so finally, and the only thing that I came up with to say, I said, well, that was fine. I said I would have enjoyed myself if it was him, but that's the only thing I thought of. And then I got a topper laugh, and then we were on and running for the rest of the time. The only other time that was weird, that threw me off, and I didn't know what to do about it, is there was a lady in Vegas that I got up on stage, and she had this one-piece shimmering skin-tight dress, head to toe, from her neck all the way down to her ankles. And I thought, oh, okay, blonde and buxom and blah, blah, and she looks like she'd be fun on the stage. I get her up on stage, and then I do my thing, and I can hear people murmuring and talking now, which they didn't do before.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. So I'm now into the part where I go down into the audience to coach her on how to finish the egg bag. She has the egg bag in her hands, right?
Yes, yeah.
And she's holding it up above. And I go down in the audience, and now people are really and I look, and I realize that she didn't realize that her dress became invisible when a 1,500-watt spotlight hit it from the front.
Oh.
And
so she looked almost naked.
You saw everything. And you knew that she wasn't a natural blonde. You knew and you saw everything. And she wasn't wearing anything on top, anything on bottom. And so I looked and I just went, and I felt so bad for her. But she didn't, I don't think she knew. And I went, okay, do I go on with this? Because now people are sort of really talking at a high level and stuff. And I just quickly finished it center back, and I had nowhere to go because you really didn't want to bring it up because if you brought it up and she was embarrassed, then it looked bad for everybody.
Yeah.
So I just let her go back in the audience, and just went.
It's Vegas. It could have just been another night out for her at that point.
Exactly. Yeah.
Also, it's something you might want to keep in the act. It's just, can we get the spotlight on the lady, please, as she comes onto the stage?
Just wear this. Just trust me.
You want to talk misdirection? Holy crap! You want to
no one cared about the trick. No one cared about the egg bag trick.
No, you could have brought an elephant on stage at that point.
Exactly. You mentioned Dubai, funny enough, when you came out of the thing. Well, I performed there a few times. Have you?
No.
So I'm not supposed to touch any of these royalty. In fact, these 2 rows of the sheiks and their wives are there in the front of this. Well, I'm doing a show at the World Trade Center, Dubai, and so I go and you're not supposed to touch them. You're not supposed to take them. You're not supposed to look at them. Okay, just ignore them.
Yes.
So at the end of my show, I'm about to do the egg bag. I say, I need a lady from the audience. And I go out into the audience and I bypass all these royalty, but she stands up right in my way and goes like this. This one lady, just one sheik's wife, and goes like this and puts her hands up. Like, I volunteer. And she doesn't say anything. She just does this. And I froze, and then I looked toward this sheik, and this was the meanest son of a bitch looking guy I've ever seen. Can you imagine, like Yasser Arafat, but just like badass, right? And he's just looking at me with these eyes, just glaring at me, and I'm thinking, and I'm grasping my heart at this point, going, I think I'm dead. I'm not sure what to do. Do you just say no? Oh, that's insulting.
Do you ask for permission?
Well, that's what I did. I looked at him and I went, is it okay? And he took like 10 seconds staring me down, and then he just sort of nodded his head slightly down and closed his eyes and opened his eyes back up. And I went
condescending.
There's sort of a condescending, yeah, I think so. And I just went, oh God, and so I even did. I think I pretty much. Oh, sorry. I think I actually pretty much did that. Grasped my heart and I said, and then the whole funny part was everyone knew I wasn't supposed to touch her. Right. So I'm doing the whole egg bag, going like, looking like Joe Cocker, right? Like, oh God, I can't touch you, and just do this. And it was one of the funniest egg bags I've ever done because people knew that I wasn't supposed to touch it.
So they loved your discomfort.
Yes, my discomfort.
And how was she on stage?
She was wonderful.
Yeah,
she was wonderful, and she did the whole trick, and she was beautiful, and she was great, and she was very proud, and almost looking at the husband like, yeah, look at me, bitch,
Right. What are you going to do now?
Yeah, what are you going to do now? Right, exactly. So far, I'm back in the country, so I guess I'm okay.
You've survived so far. Well, Jeff, thank you so much for spending time with us. Great stories, and for showing us Marvin's Magic Theatre. This place is killer, man.
Glad that you're here, and you're killing them too.
Well, let's do a show tonight.
All right, sounds good.
All right, thank you. Cheers. Jeff, you're amazing. Thank you to you and your family for hosting us at the theatre. We had a great time and a great chat. Wasn't that interesting? Wasn't that fascinating? So here's the thing. If you want to learn more about Marvin Roy, if you want to see some of the history of magic and some of the things that he got up to, you know where to go. That's YouTube. Just go to YouTube and put in Marvin Roy Magic. In fact, Marvin, by the way, spelt with a Y, not an I. And you will be amazed at what you see. Marvin was one of those guys who believed that every act should have a theme. And he wasn't wrong, because it made him stand out from all the other performers, right? He was Mr. Electric. He did magic at a time with giant light bulbs, loads of them coming out of his mouth, and so many other tricks. When he toured with Liberace, he created an act called the Magic Jeweler, which you can imagine just kind of fit Liberace's tour to a T, right? Sleight of hand magic, but with jewels and rubies and diamonds and crowns and all kinds of things. He was really smart, and that's what set him above all the others. When Marvin was in his 80s, he worked at the Magic Castle in the close-up room one week. Same week I was working there. And the great thing about working at the Magic Castle is they take such good care of you. They feed you, you get like a beautiful dinner. So what Marvin did was he had a moment in his close-up act where he just snapped his fingers and a hand came out from behind the curtain, took a prop off, and that was it. That was Carol. That was his wife. And by putting her in the act at that point, he was able to get dinner for her too. He was smart guy. He was a smart guy. Marvin, we miss you. Jeff, thank you so much for spending time. Don't forget, Magicians Only is brought to you by Magic on the Go at magiconthego.com. There's a lot of magic to choose from, a lot of stuff that you can theme into an act if you want to. There's a playlist which I love called 20 Essential Card Moves and One Fabulous Trick. And because a lot of people will say if they're starting card magic and they want to learn sleight of hand, like where do you start? What are the moves that you learn as a card magician, and where do you go? So I compiled some of my favorites in this list, and also a couple that I created, including a move that I call gridlock, which I invented while I was driving to the Magic Castle one night in Los Angeles, and we had really, really bad traffic. And so I had one hand on the wheel and one hand on these playing cards. And what I wanted to do was to create a method of doing, and magicians will know what I'm talking about, the Mercury fold with one hand. And not the method that's an expert card technique, but a brand new method. I wanted it to be fast. I wanted it to be one hand. And by the time I got to the castle, I had the perfect method. You can not only switch a card, you instantly fold it in the process. Lots and lots of uses on that one. That's called Gridlock. It's part of the playlist, and it's available only on magiconthego.com. So check that out. Thank you so much for listening. I love you. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe. Ciao for now.